The door settles into the frame behind me, and the sound of it stays in the room longer than it should, held there by the stone, by the wood, by the fact that nothing else moves to replace it. He's already in position, close to the barrels, close enough that he doesn't need to step forward again, his weight set, his attention fixed somewhere just above them, like he's already standing at the exact second he's been waiting for. I move in a little further. He doesn't turn. His focus stays forward, but I can see it in his hands. Small movements, fingers tightening and easing again. Not restless, just controlled, like he's keeping everything contained inside his body instead of letting it spill out. Above us, the room begins to fill. Footsteps pass overhead in uneven intervals, some quick, some measured, each one crossing directly above where we stand, each one placing another person into a space they believe is safe. He tracks it, not by looking, by listening, by feeling the pattern build. This is the moment that holds everything together. Nothing left to arrange, nothing left to change, only the timing. His hand moves into his coat and comes back with the match, held carefully between his fingers, steady, deliberate, already aligned with what comes next. He doesn't rush it. He lets the room above settle into place, and then he waits, just long enough for the moment to meet him. He stands close enough to the barrels that he won't need to step forward again. His weight set, his body already aligned with the one movement that will matter, and the space behind him left open without being checked, because he has already decided he will not use it. I move along the wall and come closer, and the floor carries the sound of it for a moment before it fades, and he registers it without turning, not by looking, but through the way his posture settles deeper into place, as if acknowledging a presence, and then choosing to keep his attention fixed where it belongs. The barrels are arranged with purpose, tight, deliberate, each one touching the next, forming a single mass instead of separate pieces, and he has positioned himself just off-center from them, not directly in front, not to the side, but in the one place where his hand can reach everything without shifting his feet. He adjusts once, a small step, half a foot closer. Then he stops. That adjustment completes something, and after it there is no reason to move again. Above us, footsteps pass in uneven patterns, some quick, some measured, crossing directly over the chamber, and he listens to them as they build into something more consistent, not as noise, but as timing, tracking how the room above fills without needing to see it. His hand lifts slightly, rising toward the nearest barrel, and stops just short of touching it, held there for a second, not uncertain, not hesitant, but precise, as if the distance itself matters, as if closing it too early would disrupt the sequence he has already set. He lowers it again, no wasted movement. Everything he does either places him or confirms that he is already placed. I step closer to the barrels, close enough now to see the marks along the wood, the signs of handling, of transport, of effort that happened long before tonight, and none of it belongs to this moment anymore, because all of that work has already been carried forward into this room, into this arrangement, into him. Another shift overhead, more people settling into position. He registers it immediately, and this time the response is smaller, just a tightening through his shoulders, barely visible, but enough to show that he is counting, measuring, adjusting internally without changing anything on the surface. His hand moves into his coat, straight to it, no searching, no pause. When it comes back out, the match is already set between his fingers, held steady, aligned with the motion that will follow, and he keeps it there without looking, because his attention is still forward, still locked to the barrels, still tied to the timing above. He breathes in slowly, not to calm himself, but to match the pace he has chosen, and holds it just long enough before letting it out again, keeping everything inside him controlled, contained, and ready. Nothing in the room needs to change. Everything that mattered has already been decided. So he holds position, the match resting between his fingers, the barrels within reach, the footsteps above settling into place, and in that stillness, the moment doesn't pause, it closes in. A sound breaks the pattern behind him. Not from above, from the passage. A step enters the chamber and carries its own echo, sharper than the ones overhead, contained by the walls, closer, immediate, and he registers it at once. His hand holding the match exactly where it is, his body staying fixed, his attention shifting, without turning. Another step follows, measured, deliberate, closer. It doesn't match the rhythm above. It doesn't belong to the pattern he has been tracking. It cuts through it. He lowers the match a fraction, not away, just enough to remove it from contact. His thumb releases pressure, holds, waits. The step stops. A breath fills the space behind him. Not loud, close enough to feel. He doesn't turn yet. He listens. Another movement, cloth shifting, a hand brushing against the wall. The passage holds that sound and returns it. Confirms distance, confirms position. Whoever entered has stopped just inside the chamber, watching. He knows that. His shoulders remain set. No retreat, no forward movement. The space behind him is no longer empty. It is closed. The path he left open is now occupied. Another step, closer, boot against stone. He turns his head slightly. Not enough to face, enough to register position. Two figures, one ahead of the other. The first holds still, the second shifts weight. They have found him. The match remains in his hand, unlit, held steady. He doesn't hide it. He doesn't drop it. He keeps it where it is, aligned with what it was meant to do. The first figure steps forward, slow, controlled. The distance between them shortens. The second figure moves to the side, not rushing, positioning, closing the angle. He tracks both without moving his feet. His stance holds. The barrels at his side, the figures behind him, the space between all 3 points tightening. A voice breaks the silence. Low, direct. It fills the chamber and stops there. No echo carries it away. He doesn't answer. He doesn't shift. He lets the words sit where they fall. The first figure steps again. Closer now, within reach. A hand lifts slightly. Not striking, not grabbing. Waiting. He raises the match a fraction, brings it back toward the fuse. The movement is small, precise. It doesn't go unnoticed. The second figure steps in, faster this time, closing the remaining distance. A hand reaches, stops short, testing, waiting for the exact second to act. He doesn't give it to them. He holds, keeps the match in place, keeps the distance to the fuse minimal. His thumb tightens again, pressure building, not yet striking. The first figure shifts position, blocking his line, cutting the angle between his hand and the barrels. That changes the space, narrows it, removes the clean path he had aligned. He adjusts, not by stepping, by angling his wrist, bringing the match around the obstruction, maintaining access. The second figure moves closer still, now within arm's reach. The air in the chamber tightens. Every movement carries consequence. No wasted motion remains. The first figure speaks again, short, sharp. The words land between them. He doesn't respond. His attention stays fixed on the space between the match and the fuse. That distance holds everything. The second figure lunges. A hand reaches for his wrist. Fast, direct. He reacts at the same instant. His arm pulls back just enough to break contact, not retreating, repositioning. The match stays in his grip, unstruck. The first figure moves in. Now both are close, too close. They press the space around him inward, contain it. His back remains clear of the wall, but the passage behind is closed. No exit, no path through, only pressure. He shifts his weight, small, forward, bringing himself closer to the barrels again, reclaiming the space he needs. The second figure reaches again, this time faster, closer to contact. He angles his arm down, keeps the match protected, keeps it aligned. The first figure steps to his side, blocking again, reducing movement, forcing the action into a smaller space. The chamber tightens around all three, no distance left, only proximity. The second figure grabs for his arm, contact, grip tightening around his wrist. He resists, not pulling away fully, holding just enough space to keep control. The match remains between his fingers, still unlit. The first figure reaches for his shoulder, stops just short, waiting, watching the hand, watching the match. Everything centers on that one point. He drives his arm forward, short movement, toward the fuse. The second figure reacts instantly, grip tightening, pulling his arm back, breaking the line. The first figure steps in closer, now directly beside him, cutting off the angle completely. No clean path remains. The space is closed, fully, contained. His arm is held, his position fixed, the match still in his hand, unstruck, no room to complete the motion. The chamber holds them there, locked, every direction blocked, every movement answered. The moment that was building now compresses into a single point of contact. His hand, their grip, the distance to the fuse no longer reachable, and he holds there, inside the space that is finally closed around him. The grip on his wrist tightens, not sudden, not violent, just enough pressure to take control of the joint, to fix it in place, to remove the last angle he was holding, and he feels it immediately. The shift from control to resistance. The moment where the action is no longer his alone. He doesn't pull back, he drives forward. Short movement, direct. His hand pushes toward the barrels again, forcing space where none is left, trying to reclaim the line that has been taken from him. The man holding him reacts at once, pulls his arm back, harder this time, breaking the forward motion before it completes. The match stays in his grip, still unlit, still positioned. The second man steps in closer. Their bodies press into his space, removing distance completely, closing every gap he had been working inside. A hand comes up to his shoulder, firm, holding, not striking, pinning. He shifts his weight again, forward into them, not to escape, to move the point of contact, to create a new angle. His arm twists under the grip, not enough to break free, enough to change direction. He brings the match lower, closer to the level of the fuse. The movement is small, but it forces a reaction. The man holding his wrist tightens further, locks the joint, stops the descent. The second man moves to his side. Now both are fully engaged. No hesitation, no testing. They know exactly what he is holding, exactly what he is trying to do. A voice cuts through the chamber, closer now. No distance left between command and action. The words land directly between them. He doesn't answer. His focus stays on his hand, on the match, on the small space that still exists between his fingers and the point where flame meets to meet. He shifts again, faster, drives his arm forward with more force this time. The grip reacts instantly, pulls him offline, breaks the motion. His shoulder is forced back. His body turns slightly away from the barrels. The angle is gone. The line is broken. The second man steps behind him, closes the last open side. An arm comes across his chest, locks him in place. He resists, pushes forward again, short, repeated, each attempt smaller than the last, each one answered before it completes. The match remains in his hand, unlit, caught between intent and interruption. The man at his wrist shifts his grip, slides higher, takes more control, forces the arm down, away from the barrels, away from the fuse. He tries to bring it back, twists, drives upward. The second man tightens the hold across his chest, restrains the movement, limits it, reduces it to almost nothing. The chamber fills with the sound of effort, boots against stone, cloth pulling tight, breath forced through controlled resistance. No chaos, no shouting, just pressure applied from every side. His hand moves once more, a final attempt. He forces it upward, toward the barrels, toward the fuse. Closer than before, closer than they expected. The man holding his wrist reacts with full force, drives his arm down, hard. The match slips, shifts in his grip. His fingers tighten to hold it, but the angle is gone, the alignment broken. The second man pulls him back, away from the barrels completely now, removes the last chance of contact. His body is turned, his arm forced behind him, the match still in his hand, held, but no longer usable. A third figure enters the chamber. Fast. Closes the remaining distance. A hand strikes his arm. Sharp. Precise. The match breaks free from his fingers. Falls. Hits the stone. Rolls once. Stops. No flame, no spark. Just wood against stone. The man at his wrist forces him down. Drives him to one knee. The second holds him there. The third moves past. Straight to the barrels. Checks the fuse. Confirms it. Untouched. The room holds for a moment. All movement contained. All pressure resolved. He remains on the ground. Held. Controlled. His hand empty now. No movement left in it. No action remaining. The barrels stand where they were placed. The fuse rests where it was set. The space between them never closed. And the moment that had been building ends there, not with flame, not with force, but with his hand forced open, and the match lying still on the stone between them.